What's up? It's IB Pro Stan McQuay. I'm here in New York right now at Bev's gym. Came out here to put some work in and train with some of the people that I respect and I like in the sport. And today we are with the one and only Arash Rahbar. He took second place in the IBB Classic Physique this year, Mr. Olympia. And so I'm out here and I want to pick his brain because my theory on bodybuilding and just everything in life is you got to surround yourself by people that are better than you and you can absorb more knowledge. And I learned about Arash from social media and I like watching his videos and I like what he's about. He's not just a typical meathead. He seems like he's got a lot more to him than just bodybuilding and lifting weights. So I'm here today and I want to ask him some questions and kind of figure out what made him who he is today. So one of the questions I wanted to ask him basically was, were there any other sports that you did before bodybuilding that, kind of helped you develop into what you are today, what I call an athlete?
Absolutely, there was. But before I answer that question, got to thank Stan for that intro. It was very, very kind, but he was being super, super humble. Growing up, there was a lot of people I looked up to, and one of them was Stan. And not because he's much older, but because he's been competing for over 20 years. Stan started very young, and before we had all this aesthetics and men's physique and classic physique, Stan was the physique that everybody wanted to be like. Amazing lines. You guys just Google Stan McQuay and you'll see what I'm talking about. So he's being very, very humble. He's one of the physiques that I looked up to growing up, and it's a pleasure and an honor to be able to call him a friend today. But to go back to the question, yes, I feel that for myself, having an athletic background helped me a lot. And over the years, seeing my training partners that had athletic backgrounds versus the ones that didn't, they had an advantage, the ones that did. And not only physically, because your body, your muscle fibers, your slow twitch, fast twitch, and just your coordination is a little bit more superior when you have an athletic background to someone that doesn't have an athletic background. But more importantly, I played football, I ran track, and I did martial arts for about 16 years. More importantly, especially in martial arts and football, they pushed us so hard that it gave me a mental toughness. At an early age, my early teenage years, I realized that my body is capable of a hell of a lot more than I thought it was. Meaning, we would push so hard during martial arts sessions and sparring and practices, and so hard in football where I thought I would pass out, I thought I would throw up, but I still had more in me. And if I was there alone without my peers or without my coaches, I probably would have called it a day and stopped. But it makes you learn yourself, not only physically, but mainly mentally. Bodybuilding is a very, very mental sport. A lot of people have what it takes physically, but they don't have what it takes mentally. And that's the difference between the majority of bodybuilders and the champions, the guys at the top of the circle. So for me, 100% having martial arts and football as a background physically definitely helped me, but mentally it gave me that athletic edge, and it primed me, it physically primed me for it. But to give you guys a little bit more detail on physically, I feel like my shoulders developed earlier on because of all the punching in martial arts, and I feel like my inner and outer thighs, my adductors and my abductors were very, very strong from the martial arts, from the kicks, from the roundhouse kicks. And I was also very, very flexible, and I still am till today. And we know that flexibility is not only good for injury prevention, but for strength and developing the muscle.
All right, so clearly you're an athlete. So that being said, other than the martial arts training, when did you actually start lifting weights, or should we say, how long have you been bodybuilding?
So I only started competing in 2014 at the late age of 33, but I called myself a bodybuilder for 2 decades before that. I started lifting weights at 13 years old in the house and really started getting hardcore and going up to the high school gym and lifting weights with the varsity football players at about 14, 15. At 16 years old, I was training 6 days a week, eating 5 to 6 meals a day, carrying a gallon of water around, and I was taking creatine by EAS. It's called phosphagen. Some of you old school cats know about that. And I used to take it with grape juice. That was the thing to do. So I called myself a bodybuilder from that early age. It just took me a very, very long time to compete. But just seeing the pictures of Arnold, Hulk Hogan, Sylvester Stallone, Bruce Lee, that was just the ultra ideal alpha male in my mind. So I just wanted muscle. I wanted to look chiseled and muscular. So that's how it started. And then the more and more I grew and the more I developed, the more and more I wanted. And now we're here today shooting for you guys.
Now, if you can go back and change anything in your training, just strictly talking about bodybuilding, training, if you can go back and change anything and not do that again, what would that be?
That's a tough question because everything that I did led me to here. So the main thing that helped me the most over the years, especially my early years, was blunt force trauma, lifting heavy. But at the same time, that leads to injury and it's very risky and dangerous. If I was gonna go back and change anything, maybe the times where I was maybe doing high volume and a lot of supersets and lighter weight stuff, which I didn't do very much, but I would kind of put that aside and really just focus early on strength training and growing and eating to grow. A lot of you guys, you're starting out and everyone wants to have six-pack abs and do shows, but the fact of the matter is you could do it and you can be successful and you can look great, but the fact of the matter is if you don't have 5-10 years under your belt, you're not gonna have that dense, solid, mature muscle. So really just put on your hood, eat enough to grow, not so much where you get sloppy, and always be progressing. If you're eating enough where you're surplus of calories and you're lifting heavy, you are growing. So that's what I would mainly focus on and not really be too concerned about the six-pack abs and flaunting your shit on Instagram for a few years.
Yeah, so that kind of answered part of my question, I guess, of my next one, but you know, if there's like one philosophy or one motto that you would base your whole training and your preparations for, what would that be? Like, what's the most important thing that made you who you are now?
You know, of course diet has to be on point, of course training has to be on point, but I really don't give a shit what you guys do as far as how you configure your diets, high carbs, low carbs, keto, not keto, and whatever you want to train, whatever your philosophy is, so be it. Intensity is the most important thing. It's not what you do, but it's how you do it. If you're following a diet from Mr. Olympia, but you think it came from Joe Schmo, you're not going to take it serious, you're not going to do it with faith, so to speak, and you're not going to be very intense. But if I give you Joe Schmo's diet, but you think it came from Mr. Olympia, you're going to have a lot of faith in it. So whatever it is you're doing, we always make mistakes in our road to the top, and you're always going to learn. So a year from now, 5 years from now, you're going to be better, you're going to have a more arsenal, more information and experience in your arsenal. But whatever you have now, if it's a lot or if it's not so much, just do it 190%. Give it all you got and be very, very focused and very intense. And don't doubt yourself, don't doubt the process, don't doubt your training, don't doubt your diet. Just have faith in what you're doing and give 190% and you will move forward. You will progress and you will get better.
Well, there you have it right there. Wealth is knowledge, and I want to share with you what I absorbed, and you guys can want to watch this, take a little bit of what he taught you, take a little bit of what I'm teaching you guys, apply that to your own preparations for not just, you know, competition, not for bodybuilding, but just life, period, and apply it. So hope this helped. Here out of Bev Gym with Arash Rahbar. Thank you again, and see you again.